Hello folks, and welcome to part 6. If you've seen any of my stuff on here before, then you'll know that I'm a big fan of observation. I took these photos over the summer to show you some of the things that you should be looking for, the telltale signs that give you the heads up as to who else is using the road at the same time as us. If your observation is good, there's a load of information out there that you can use to help keep yourself safer. So next time you're out, sharpen up your skills and hopefully you won't end up in the Here's some more on cornering then, some different aspects and some that's a bit more advanced. We know that you've got to enter bends at the right speed, but how do you gauge it? We can use a thing called the limit point. The limit point is exactly that, it's the limit of your view along the road surface. And some people describe it as the point where the right and the left hand hedges appear to meet. On gentle bends, the limit point appears to race away from you all the time as you go in. But on a sharp bend, you'll see that it looks like it doesn't move much, and if that's happening, that's your signal to slow down. You must be able to stop within the distance you can see to be clear, so the important thing is the distance between you and that limit point. Travelling at a constant speed, if the limit point's opening up and the distance is constant too, then you're safe. If the limit point doesn't move and the distance is reducing, you're heading towards a sharper bend and it's time to start slowing down. The distance I can see to be clear from the limit point shows me that in this left-hand bend I can maintain this speed in perfect safety. As I come off the apex and I've got more view, then I can start to put the speed on a bit. I'm making use of the shadows. With the sun on my left here, I've got some driveways coming up on the left-hand side, and any vehicles coming up towards them are going to cast a shadow out onto the road. Look at the limit point again, all opening up quite nicely. I'm approaching this right-hand bend, so I tuck the bike in towards the near side to extend my view. The limit point is opening up, again showing me that my speed is right. And as I come off, I've now got a different view, and it's time to start slowing down. A little bit less view as I approach the brow on this blind bend here. Here's something else that will help you make that decision as to what speed you enter a bend at. Triangular warning signs are usually placed about 80 to 100 yards before the hazard that they're telling you about. The general rule of thumb is the more paint and signs and the greater the danger, and the more you need to slow down. Well, this all sounds simple enough, so let's bung a spanner in the works now then and introduce speed plus speed. The limit point system works fine as long as your lane's clear, but if oncoming traffic comes across to our side of the road, either due to their size or wrong positioning, the distance you can see to be clear can alter drastically, and you need to take into consideration their speed and stopping distance and yours. You can see the potential for this at the foot of the hill on the approach to the blind left-hand bend, and incidentally, for the really observant, have a look at the little lay-bar on the right and the fresh set of wet tyre marks coming out through the puddle. What does that tell you? Initially I've positioned for view, but I must be prepared to give up that position for safety as I reduce my speed on the way down into the bend. Here's that speed plus speed thing, but with my speed already down, all that's needed is a quick mirror check and change of course in towards the near side to pass in perfect safety. Here's another one of those observation links. Just up ahead on the left is a small driveway. Have a quick look in as we go by and remember what you see for later. You'll see that just after the driveway I move the bike out to the crown of the road away from the road junction. Whenever you pass road junctions like this, make sure you always have a look into them. You may see something that could affect your ride. My position gives me a nice early view of all these entrances and the left-hand bend, so I come out towards the crown of the road to equalise any danger from the driveways and to get early view into the bend. Did you spot that observation link there again as well? Here's some more complications then into the limit point and speed debate. This is an unusual piece of road. It's a blind left-hand bend with a staggered crossroads coming across it. If you look at the limit point, you'll see that our speed's right. It's not that much of a bend, but it is blind, and you've got these two junctions thrown in for good measure. Not one that you want to get wrong. Look at the limit point here. It's opening smoothly and all the time increasing that distance I can see to be clear. Because I've set the bike up right and entered the bend correctly, I leave the bend correctly and I'm ready to line up for the next one. I've moved the bike out to the crown of the road to give a good safety margin away from this junction mouth. It's also allowed me to keep line of sight down through the avenue of trees. I'm on the way down to a small village which I know has got a 30 limit, so I'm going to use acceleration sense and just gently roll the power off so that I arrive at the 30 limit doing 30 miles an hour. As I come down into the village, There's a parcel delivery van stopped on my side of the road, so I need to do some quick observations to try and make sure that there's no drivers in any of the vehicles I'm about to pass. The dangers to me is if any of the vehicle doors open, or if any of them pull away, and of course if the driver runs back to the van in front of me. I've got a good view down the inside of the van though, enough to allow me to move out to the outside and get that view, which I can see is clear, so I don't need to stop. With a situation like this, don't just go blatting through. There's no view and it's a ridiculous place to park, but take the initiative and be prepared to stop for safety. that's all for today, and I hope you found something in there that was useful to you and that you enjoyed it. I hope that I'll see you again, and in the meantime, stay safe.